I guess I've got the task of sort of giving you a bit of an insight into what it's like to be a friend of Greg's. And as part of that, I'm just going to read an extract from Guy Rundle's beautiful tribute to Greg. And basically, Guy can't be here himself, which is why I'm doing it. Then after that, I'll just say a few words for myself, I think. But I guess Guy is a guy that's, the best way to describe him is he looks like George from MasterChef, only a little bit taller. And if that doesn't work for you, just imagine a balding guy with a short beard, sort of with a glass of cognac in one hand and a cigar in the other. And I think you'll pretty much have Guy. Plus, he has this massive passion for politics worldwide and Australia-wide. Fabulous fellow, he really is. But Guy basically knew Greg in Greg's 20s, and I think he's known him all his life, but I think the last 10 years Guy's been travelling a lot around the world, as has Greg. Myself, I've really only known Greg for the last 5 years or so. But anyway, let's just get into Guy's beautiful work and all that sort of thing. And I apologise for not being Jeffrey Rush, but I'll give it my best shot. Somewhere in Greg's house, among the rust and blocks, half-finished proofs scrawled on envelopes and the cat scratched tree, there must be a picture of him, age 70, maybe 80, a picture like one of Dorian Gray's, of his old soul. There must be a picture like that, because for the last 10 years, Greg seemed to be getting younger. Every time I saw him in Melbourne or Los Angeles or somewhere else, he seemed leaner, more tanned, more ready for an Armada. The work kept him young. Mathematics, so rarefied, he once remarked that it was 20 years since he'd seen a number. The justly deserved professional success that he had, from the Sachs Prize to the Tarski Lectures, was another factor. I could say that he was modest about his achievements, but that would be to commit a category error. It simply never occurred to him to mention them. The only time I saw him excited about an accolade was when a fellow Australian won the Fields Medal, the Maths Nobel. He was already famous when I met him in 1985, the already retired chess champion who'd played Kasparov, but had taken his own advice that if you're not in the top 100 by 21, get out. Now he was doing maths, living on air, barreling around in a $4 beige raincoat, paying his way, hustling chess games at $10 a pop in a room above a snooker ball. At other times he studied, working harder than anyone I've ever met, pushing a wardrobe across the bedroom's one window to block out the light and fine-tuning his concentration with Nick Cave and Black Sabbath, emerging every 12 hours to cook tofu. As you do. Such reminiscences can run on till nightfall. They involve 1,000 conversations about philosophy, maths, chess, politics, logic, women, music, cats, and more. I conducted over many years over endless bottles of Stones, Green Giant, Green Ginger wine, first bought for value, more recently for nostalgia. Booze so cheap and sweet, even teenage girls wouldn't touch it. To say I learnt a lot from Greg would be to put something in incommensurable terms or something. The mention of myself was simply bound up with his and defined by it. Had I not met him, I would think different things. Be other and lesser than I am. Those basic axioms of friendship. He was so much older then, he was so much younger than that now, and I wish passionately that he had lived. Instead, there's simply this void, this infinity, the conversations that will not be had, the ideas not discussed, the bars not visited. For me, and I suspect many here, the universe has lost a dimension with Greg, gone. I give thanks for his life and friendship. His work was a complete set, but the losses are uncountable. For my part, I first met Greg in a pub when he somehow goaded me, an IT consultant, to the point where I started arguing that pure maths was important. I don't think I've ever had a conversation like that, ever. Of course, Greg was in hot opposition. I think I even told him that set theory underpins all commercial databases. And set theory, of course, was Greg's great area of expertise. In hindsight, it was a bit like trying to tell God that creation is relevant. And then, after that, it took him a whole year to actually fess up and tell me what he did for a living. Then there was his patience with the many people he used to ask him if he was a vegan for health reasons. He'd usually munch on a potato chip, wash it down with an extra swig of wine, and sort of raise one eyebrow slightly and say, no. He'd pull you into conversations about philosophy, religion, literature, and blindside you with his knowledge, but he always wanted you to know that he was vulnerable like you. And like all of us, he really just wanted to be happy. All this, and he had this childlike curiosity, and it gave him a Peter Pan-like quality. But he was a man, a real man. He was one of the bravest I've known. From stopping street fights, full-blown ones, through sheer strength of personality, to putting his ego, pride, and status on the line for no other reason than to show people a new truth, which was something Greg really believed in. He just had this quiet way of ruffling people's feathers. He was an exceptional writer and communicator. He could have easily made a profession out of it. He was charming, he was warm, he was wonderful, and interested in virtually anybody he met. Then he used to tell me he was well dressed, as pure mathematicians go. Then, sort of sadly, like Barcelona's great architect Gaudi, who died anonymously on a street. Which is something that many of us would say just shouldn't happen to a man of his status. But I think then again, you've got to think that he passed away in the way he lived, quietly ruffling people's feathers, just to show us a new truth. Thank you.